What's up, guys? Look, I want to talk about nutrient timing and just how important is it for losing body fat and building muscle. I'm going to take y'all back years and years and years ago. When I was in high school and college, there was this thing called the anabolic window. And if you're not familiar with this concept, basically, after you finished training, you were jumping in the car and going 20 miles over the fucking speed limit trying to get back home, thinking that if you didn't consume protein within this 20 to 30-minute window after your training session, that you might as well have just not gone in the first place and you kind of just wasted your time. Now, as time has gone by, we have found out that this is utter nonsense and that this is not actually a thing. Also, I know people who will consume like a casein protein before bedtime. This is a really slow digesting protein. And the theory behind this is that when your body's in its sleep state, which is where you're resting and recovering the most, that this slow digesting protein is going to give you this kind of like constant flow of protein coming in to help you recover and build muscle. And while there are people I know who are bodybuilders and they have their pro card and they practice this, and so I can't really shit on it too much because their physique is leagues ahead of mine. I just don't know how much I buy into this, guys. I think protein timing comes down to just making sure that you're spreading this stuff out throughout the day somewhat evenly and not consuming mass amounts at the same time. How much protein can your body actually absorb in one meal? Who's to say? It's definitely a lot, but if you're eating 100 grams of protein, like post workout or maybe even in the morning, it seems a little fucking ridiculous because while you might be able to absorb all 100 grams, you best believe that not all 100 are going to be going towards the function of muscle protein synthesis and actually helping you rebuild lean tissue. Not only protein, but fats that you consume as well can be broken down into glucose in your body. And this is what's going to happen when you're eating mass amounts at the same time. All right. So this is kind of why I think that like a keto or a high fat diet is the dumbest shit that you could possibly do. Why would you prioritize fat, which is going to yield 9 calories per gram, versus eating carbs, which is going to yield 4 calories per gram, when we all know that staying inside of your calorie budget is the only way that you're going to lose body fat? All this does is make your physique look extremely flat. All right. You're going to look fucking terrible. You're also not going to have any energy. And at the end of the day, the extra fat will be broken down into glucose. All right. But again, you're not getting the effects of having full glycogen and really having that energy to train properly. So I think it's pretty safe to say that protein timing is not of the utmost importance. I would, however, look into timing your carb intake. And so I'm going to kind of break down the different types of carbs and then give you some examples on how I would kind of time these throughout the day to get the most amount of benefit. The first type of carb is going to be your starches. And these are slow digesting carbs. Think of potatoes, oats, whole grain breads, brown rice, things along these lines. And what they're going to do is provide you a nice constant flow of steady energy without this massive spike in blood sugar. And this is what most people are going to want to prioritize, especially if you're someone who is a little bit more sedentary and is not extremely active throughout the day. The next type of carb is going to be sugars. And the main function of consuming sugars is to give your body energy. And I mean fast energy. So this is going to be something you're going to want to prioritize around training time so that you've got full glycogen and your muscles are being able to work at max capacity and you're going to be able to get the most out of your training. I don't think that I really need to explain what types of food these are. And you'll want to prioritize getting sugars from natural sources of sugars from fruits and things like this, as opposed to, just eating candy around the clock. And we can't be afraid of this stuff. I used to train at a powerlifting gym, and some of my friends there, like these guys are fucking literal gorillas, squatting 500 plus, deadlifting 600 plus. These guys are moving insane amounts of weight, and you would see them between sets resting for 10 minutes at least. And they'd have a bag of gummy bears or gummy worms, and they're just sitting there just fucking putting these things down because it is so beneficial and is such a good, easy way to get energy for these intense bouts of training. This is why intra workout drinks like Gatorade and these high sugar drinks were made. They were made for athletes so that they again they can keep high amount of energy as they're putting in this rigorous work. And the last type of carb is fiber. And this is arguably going to be the most important one. Fiber is a type of carb that your body can not absorb nor digest. And the list of benefits, if I really talked about all of them, shit, this video would be an hour long, guys. But I will go over the main benefits. And these are going to be making sure that we're feeling full. When you're eating a high fiber diet, it's going to help you resist cravings. And none of us are perfect. Willpower and discipline can take you pretty far, but we're going to have moments when we cave. And so we want to ensure that our fiber is high to help with satiation and fullness so that we're not binging. But it's also going to really help your blood sugar control and gut health. You're going to be able to get a lot of fiber through eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, different seeds and nuts, things like this. And I've come to learn, not only just training clients, but also just working on my own nutrition and kind of seeing what works for me and letting this thing evolve over time, that I would say carbs and fiber specifically are arguably as important or more important than protein when we're talking about maintaining a lean physique and building muscle. Again, when you're in a calorie deficit, we've got to try to resist binging as much as possible. And feeling full is going to be the golden ticket so that you're not over consuming as the week goes by. This is why fiber is so important. It's also when you're slowing your digestion, you're going to be able to absorb protein more efficiently. There's so many different benefits to doing this stuff, guys. So make sure that we're eating these whole foods and getting a lot of fiber. You want to be at least shooting for like 25 to 35 grams per day. Now, I want to go over how I would time these nutrients throughout the day. I've said maybe 2 videos ago, I was talking about what I eat for breakfast. And I eat oats every single morning because it's a really, really good source of high fiber. This is going to keep me full through the entire morning, until early afternoon. And around training time is when I'm going to be consuming a lot of fast digesting carbs so that I have readily available energy to train hard, and glycogen's full, physique's feeling full. You're getting a good pump and bringing a lot of water into the muscle. And post-workout, same thing, either slow or fast digesting carbs with something to help with the uptake of absorbing protein after your training. And then throughout the rest of the day, it's just a mix of all of them. I do try to prioritize the slow digesting carbs because oftentimes these are going to be great sources of fiber as well. And this is what you should be doing too. However, I do eat a lot of fast digesting carbs throughout the day as well. But I'm somebody who's on my feet most of the day. I'm walking 10 to 15,000 steps. So if you're active, you're going to need this stuff for energy. Your body's going to use it as energy. You're not going to be storing as fat. The only people you see eating high carb diets and have gigantic stomachs are the ones who are eating lots of fast digesting carbs and high amounts of fat and are sedentary and not moving. So they're not using this stuff as fuel, and it's converting, and again, they're just gaining weight from it. So yeah, if you're somebody who's not as active, definitely try to stick to eating a lot of slow digesting carbs. And this is also going to help you hit that fiber goal every day. Now, this is not something that is happening every single day on command at the same exact time. It is kind of fluid. Some days are going to be better than others. Sometimes you're just going to eat what's available. This stuff doesn't have to be perfect. It is just something to kind of keep in the back of your head to help with efficiency when it comes to actually training hard, especially if you're training at really high volume and high frequency. You're going to need this stuff in order to recover. So we're not fucking perfect, man. Just do what you can. Again, these are a couple of things to think about. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. Coming to conclusions, I think it's pretty safe to say that protein timing is not super quintessential in building muscle and losing fat. However, carb timing can be something that you can use as a tool to get the most out of your sessions and provide yourself steady flow of energy and kind of regulate blood sugar throughout the day. So I'm going to kind of leave it there. I'll have a new video coming in a couple days, so be on the lookout. Like and sub, and new one coming soon. Till then, peace.